ready? Are you 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 ready to get it? You ready for war? Live is back, are you ready for more? The waiting is over, it's time to get poppin'. We all wanna win it, just cash in the pocket. BB alive, nothing can top it. Fantasy's back, football's the topic. 50 down for 50 in profit. Boss at the top and we all wanna drop. I'm taking the spot, bury the coffin. Time for the action, enough of the talk. Time to get crackin', live is back. And speaking the facts, the champions boss is back to back. Don't happen that often, enjoy the throne. It's time to get off and welcome back. It's time to get started, time for the weak and the strong to be part. We're all in the war, fight to the finish. Mad about trades, but it's part of the business. Do what you need, it's all about winning. Try to be king on the division. Wanna be champ, that is the mission. Why with the flow? This is tradition. Ready to go, time for the show. Roll your bloods, get ready to blow. Get ready to hear the good and the bad. You might not agree, but it's only on facts. If you get ugly, yeah, that means you're whack. Gino and Matt, finally we're back. Analyzing and sharing the stats, giving opinions and checking the facts. Keep it six, built to the draft. A league of 10, let's see who get last. If your team stinks, it belongs in the trash. Race to the end, try not to crash. No one agrees, all of us clash. Something like Titans, fighter gets smashed. You better contend if you wanna be champ. If you won't pay attention, you don't have a chance. No chance to win if you don't have a plan. Get a chance at the shit, better win if you can. Yeah, PPL is back, I hope you're ready. PPL is back, I hope you're ready. PPL is back, I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready.
And we are back. We had our bye week, but we are back. PPL Live, week 9, here, ready to go. Interconference warfare is over. A lot has been settled between the Alpha and Omega conferences. You know what it is. Before we get into week 9, you know we got to take our eyes back to week 8. Starting with the Argonauts getting a much-needed win against their championship rivals, Patty's Twins, 140-72. The Skulls with the epic comeback of the season get it done behind Amari Cooper's big 20-point game, 153 to Trey Fitty's 151. Only for the boss. Keeps it rolling 5 straight, 134 to ATG's 105. Squad underestimated leaves no doubt in an epic performance of the season, 180 to the Hapless Gaffs, 174. Greatest effort despite the loss. And the United Players, the Destroyers, keep themselves atop the Omega Conference, 146 to the Baby Gas Teams, 87. Alrighty, PPLers, it's time for us to give you our Fantasy Trends final standing projections presented by Snickers. Starting at number 10, the Baby Gas Team, no movement there. At 9, Patty's Twins. At 8, he's dropped Trey Fitty, what's going on? 7, Appease the Gods. 6, the Argonauts. At 5, we got the Gaff Attack. At 1 and 7, how's he there, Ulysses? What's going on? 4, United Players, the Destroyers. 3, Squad Underestimated. At 2, the Skulls. And at number 1, the Pantheon Cup Champions. Only for the boss. Alrighty, man, what do you think of these final standings projections? The Gaff at 4, let's start there.
I mean, what's going on, PPL Nation? Snickers is on one. There's a lot of stuff on this that I don't necessarily agree with.
Right.
But yeah, I think the most egregious is the Gaff up at 5. I mean, basically what this is saying is they expect the Gaff to move into playoff position. However, I will agree with Snickers that some of the teams in the current playoff projection won't be there when it's all said and done. So maybe they're onto something here. I don't agree about the Gaff, though.
Okay. Nah, man. Definitely not. Thanks for your input on the final standings projections. But hey, you know what time it is. It's time for us to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alrighty, Ulysses. I don't want your good, bad, and ugly for week 8. Nope, bro. I want your good, bad, and ugly for the last 3 weeks. All of interconference warfare. I want to hear who you thought stood out in the warfare and who you thought fell off.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the good of interconference warfare has to be the Skulls.
Okay.
Really looking at where they were even before interconference warfare, this team was 1-3. now sitting at 5-3, rattling off 4 wins in a row. And again, what we saw at the end of that game, getting a much-needed win over Trey Fiddy, one of the marquee matchups. I mean, did not see this one going the way it did. And, man, we were just treated to one. So the Skulls really have put themselves in great position. And looking at a matchup against the UP, I mean, wouldn't have said at this point in interconference play, knowing what we saw before, the Skulls would be vying for an Omega hold on the title.
Right. No, definitely, man. And give me your bat.
That is Appease the Gods. I mean, you know, they had a few here that I think that they could have done better on.
Right.
But I mean, we're not talking about this past week, but we got to talk about this past week.
Okay.
They played Only for the Boss team, who again were very much playing the B lineup. A whole host of Kansas City
playing. No Mahomes, no Kelsey.
Wanting to get this matchup, and Appease the Gods can't get it. They disappointed me.
Oh. And let me hear your ugly if that's your bad.
Uglies. I'm gonna go with it, and I mean, maybe I'm beating somebody while they're down. Patty's Twins.
One's proud.
I mean, it hasn't been anywhere consistent this season.
Okay.
Starting with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, let's talk about this. This is bigger than just the interconference play. I mean, Patty's Twins and Aaron Rodgers have been an item since the inception of the PPL.
Right.
And I mean, we're just watching the dissolution in front of us here.
Right.
But it's not looking like they're really in a position to compete week in and week out. They're going to play spoil sport. Don't let that happen. They're gonna compete. They're gonna try to win.
Yeah.
But without having Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers, I don't see how they get it done consistently. It's just looking ugly coming out of interconference play for Patty's Twins.
Right. All right, man. Nah, man. My good throughout interconference warfare is Only for the Boss, man. Their march back to the Pantheon Cup has been everything you would want as a defending Pantheon Cup champion. I mean, you just talked about it with the situation with Appease the Gods. They still got 134 with no Mahomes, with no Kelsey, with guys you expect that are going to carry the day for them and are the reason that they win. They won without those guys even being present, and this was without a coach. They completely dominated, and they did that throughout interconference warfare. Really staked themselves ahead in the Alpha Conference, I feel like, and I mean are basically on the walkthrough to win another Alpha Conference title. I mean, barring unforeseen injuries or something like that. My bad, man, is the Argonauts. They did end interconference warfare with a victory against Patty's Twins, but they could have easily swept through interconference warfare themselves. Sloppy calls at the coach spots, damn them in both matchups against the Appease the Gods and the Skulls. 2 games that they could have won and they feel like they should have won. They know they have to bank those interconference wins, especially going back into conference play where they're behind on conference victories. It's looking like a bad season for the Argonauts, isn't getting any better, and they're in a must-win situation this week against Only for the Boss. And my ugly, I got to do it, man. It's the gaff. You score 174 and you still lose. And it's just been a thing all season long. He's gotten great weeks, but he's gotten bad weeks, and none of those weeks have been able to equal victories. And it's just been ugly everywhere he's looked. A once promising season. I mean, on the eve of the season, I had the gaff as a dark horse to win the Omega title, perhaps represent Omega in the Pantheon Cup. But at this point, I mean, they're looking like they're in next year award territory, just not a place they expect it to be. And things could get uglier before they get good or even bad. So the gaff is my ugly, and ugly season got uglier throughout interconference warfare. But that being said, what's past is prologue. It's time to look ahead to our week 9 matchups. And we start in the Alpha Conference with the now surging squad underestimated going up against the Baby Gas team, a team that just cannot get right. They did get a victory during interconference warfare, but they just have not been able to get it together other than that. Joe Burrow's been spectacular, but on the other side, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey both had 3 TDs last week. Tyreek Hill is leading the league in receiving, and he got this guy almost at a bargain's price. What do you think of this one, man? Squad underestimated, looking like they're rolling. I mean, they are without McCaffrey and Barkley this week, but they look so good against a Baby Gas team that just cannot seem to get right.
Well, preseason post-draft, the squad was my PPL title winner, and I think they're still in really good shape for that.
Oh, definitely.
You mentioned it. I mean, top to bottom, they really don't have a bad feel on this roster.
Right.
And again, Ravens coach just getting stronger, adding quality defensive players like Roquan Smith. Again, when Njoku can get back in the lineup, I mean, I think he's got a lot of guys on his bench that are just enviable that for most teams. So squad's done a great job just negotiating off-season trades, in-season trades. I mean, he's just been able to bamboozle and get his way to some really quality talent this season. You said it on the other side. It's just been a story of inconsistency with the BGT.
Right.
Again, they've got one of the top quarterbacks, and Josh Jacobs is really coming on as of late. Yeah. But, I mean, other than that, it's just not coming together. I don't even really have this one close. Okay. I think when it's all said and done, squad is going to be up there, and I've got them going 138 to BGT's 102.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you, man. I'm going to go with squad underestimated here. I'm looking at the Baby Gas team. They've got to get somebody into that flex spot. And you're right, man. Besides Burrow and Jacobs, I mean, and those guys are two of the very best at their position right now in the PPL. You look at the rest of the roster, and there's nothing else that even really makes you concerned. That does make the BGT a scary team in the sense that they can pop up on you any week. DJ Moore can go nuts any week. Christian Kirk could have a great week. And he's got the connection with Hayden Hurst. I think he needs to just double down on Cincinnati and go and put Boyd in that lineup. There's no Jamar Chase for a few weeks. Get Boyd in there and see if he can double up on that connection because Burrow's been the best thing on his roster. See if he can spread the love to the rest of his roster and hopefully get him some points in a matchup with a team that he's going to need every point that he can get to even hang in this matchup. I like squad's depth right now. Alvin Kamara, obviously on Monday night as a great insurance policy. I even like Gus Edwards in the flex as the other running back in that matchup. The running game is going to be rolling in that matchup. And Kamara is a big part of the passing game. And obviously the Ravens don't throw that much anyway. So Edwards is going to get a lot of carries. I'm looking at Tyler Lockett against Arizona. I'm expecting another good week out of him. He toughed it out last week despite a midweek injury and played pretty decently. I expect that to continue against Arizona in a divisional matchup on the road. Tyreek Hill, like we said, I believe he's the number 1 receiver in the PPL, our number 2 right now. So, I mean, where's there not to like on squad side? I'm with you, man. They got the Baltimore coach on Monday night in case they are in some kind of a hole and they got to triple up at all 3 spots. And I think that they can just probably roll with that anyway. I think they'll be so far ahead by that point anyway. They'll probably be able to do that and go for a leave no doubt performance. I got squad underestimated getting this win, 142 to the BGT's 119. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into Omega for a classic matchup of 2 original 5 teams as we got the Gaff Attack taking on Appease the Gods. All right, man, 2 proud franchises, 2 teams who we know came into the season expecting better than where they are. We got the Gaff, who has had some great high-scoring efforts dashed, and then we've got Appease the Gods, who are in kind of a can't-get-right phase. What do you think of this matchup, man? We got ATG and the Gaff Attack.
I think you hit the nail on the head. ATG, it really has no dynamic players that are really trying to pop things off. I mean, there's good guys on here,
right?
But there's just no consistency. Nobody that's really owning the reins. I mean, we expected it with some flashes from Lamar,
right?
But really, there's been nobody else that's been consistently on top of their game. I mean, I'll say Mark Andrews, but again, that's Lamar more than anything.
Okay.
I look at the other side. I mean, I think that the Gap gets this one.
Okay.
And I think it comes down to, again, he's got superstars over here.
Right.
Jalen Hurts trying to put down an MVP campaign.
Right.
That he's got A.J. Brown and he's got the Eagles coach. And I don't think Houston's really going to put up much of a fight.
Okay.
I think, again, he's got some other spots here that again, are good. But I think that the Gap, again, we've seen it. I mean, he's going to live and die by these Eagles.
Yeah.
Putting a strong line together. I think that they do that this week.
Right.
I think that the rest of the team does enough.
Okay.
And I look at the other side, and I just think ATG struggles. Lamar may have a great day against New Orleans, but they're coming off of a shutout performance against the Las Vegas Raiders. So we'll see what that looks like. Joe Mixon looks like he may have lost a step. Devin Singletary in Buffalo. I mean, they're bringing in other running backs.
Right.
So I don't know how secure that position is. Mike Evans is dropping bombs. Devonta's getting lost behind AJ.
Yeah.
It's not looking good for ATG right now.
Right.
So I think he's really going to have, again, the Eagles struggle, and he's going to need to get a coach. I don't think that he's going to be able to sit here and play a bye week coach with the Eagles looking very likely to get a win. So,
right.
I don't think he can do anything really, though, that's going to stop what the Gap's got going.
Okay.
I've got Gap avenging that early season win. And again, when you look at what's happened to the Gap, and this is maybe what Snickers is looking at, Gap is the team that's had the most points scored against them. So let's not sit here and say that Gap just has been playing terribly.
Right.
He's been having people show out on him.
Right.
Fortunately for him, he's playing in a Peace to God's team that has not been in that mode. And so I've got the Gap, and I think that they win this one comfortably. I'm going to say that they go 127 to a Peace to God's 118.
All right, man. I'm actually inclined to agree with you here. I think the Gaff, he was my ugly for interconference warfare, and like I said, the reason it's ugly is just because he's only won one game. So I mean, it could be he's had the most points scored against him, but it's only one win. I mean, he could almost be at 0 wins if you really. I mean, he is almost at 0 wins. But that being said, this matchup is one that I think that he will get his second win in. I'm loving the Philly. I think that he jumps all over ATG tomorrow. ATG's saving grace is that he has Devonta Smith. If the Rock goes Devonta's way and he has the big day in this matchup, that can really help ATG because he'll have a lot of guys left to play. It'll be a lot of room for a comeback situation for the team. But in the end, it's matchups. I mean, we got David Montgomery playing Miami. I love DK Metcalf at Arizona. I was just talking about Tyler Lockett. I like DK Metcalf even more. Geno Smith he's really stabilized that position despite Russ's vacating that spot. He's been able to fill in and give them high level production like they were getting before. He's got Walker also at Arizona. So he's doubling down in a couple of matchups that typically leads to a lot of success, but it can also lead to a slow week if things don't go right. On ATG side, I love Lamar. Mark Andrews, I think he got nicked up on that Thursday night game, but it looks like he's going to be back for Monday Night Football, which is going to be huge for ATG and for Lamar. Although I did like the young guy, Isaiah Likely. He looked very, very, very good in Andrews' place. But I do like Mike Evans against the Rams. I do like Devonta Smith, but I don't like David Montgomery. They're running the ATG running game just has not been there this season. It's really been a letdown, like you said. They have no coach in at the moment. They've got a Dallas coach on the bye. They really need to just try to find a coach and roll the dice there and just hope that the Eagles come out slow somehow against Houston. It is on the road. It is an interconference game, and sometimes those games can be tricky. So maybe ATG, they can hope for prayer from the gods for Jalen to slow down. But at the end of the day, I got the Gaff getting this matchup 131 to ATG's 119. And moving on to our next matchup, we go back into the Alpha Conference for probably one of the most crucial regular season games the Argonauts have had in years. We have the Argonauts taking on Only for the Boss. All right, man, I just said it. The Argonauts, Only for the Boss. Huge matchup for the Argonauts. They need this matchup to get back on track in the Alpha Conference. For Only for the Boss, they're at the point now where they're just really trying to accelerate and get on the death march for the bye week in that number 1 seed. Man, what do you think of this matchup, Argo, Only for the Boss?
I mean, I couldn't agree more. The Argo need this win to really create lightning into this back half. This is where PPL titles are campaigns are started in November.
Right.
Really, anybody's still in the hunt with how the playoff format is. And I'll say this, Only for the Boss doesn't care.
Right.
This guy, like you said, coming in the best of your interconference warfare.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it. Nobody's stopped in Only for the Boss.
No.
He's got more than 100 points than the next closest, like number 2.
Yeah.
He's got 100 points more than them.
Right.
Looking at the Argo, 200.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at what this guy's been able to do, and then I look at his team, and he's got the Kansas City Chiefs looking so fresh, coming off a bye.
Right.
Andy Reid, one of the best coaches in this kind of situation. He's got Miles Sanders, who I think sets the tone against Houston because, again, if he starts running away with this game,
he's going to get a lot of run.
Handing the ball to Miles Sanders.
Yeah. Right.
Tyler Algier, a great pickup, benefiting from Patterson's early injury.
Yeah.
And then again, he's got Stephon Diggs, who's again getting balls thrown his way from the league MVP run.
Right.
He's got Travis Kelce, number 1 position. Only for the Boss is strong, and they don't have Deebo Samuel and Nick Chubb this week.
Right.
Argo, again, they got it right last week. My biggest question mark with them is, again, player consistency, man.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, how's he going to look? Dalvin Cook, is it going to be there? Eno Benjamin, it's got flashes. Devontae and the whole system in Las Vegas, what's
going on? Yeah.
So, I mean, again, there's just a lot of question marks on the Argo side. Are they capable of winning this? Absolutely. But until I see somebody show out on Only for the Boss, I ain't going nowhere else. I've got Only for the Boss in a leave no doubt performance.
Okay.
Going 156 to the Argos 144.
Ooh, a great shootout. Some of what we saw 2 of those last week. If these 2 teams are able to give us a treat like that, then that'll be great. I'm inclined to agree with you in the end. I'm looking at the late matchups. When you got Kansas City on Sunday night, they love to show out in night games. It could be the end of a leave no doubt performance, as you said, and it could get started very, very early tomorrow. I'm looking at Miles Sanders and Brandon Cooks in this matchup. I expect Philly to be playing from ahead, meaning Sanders is going to get the ball, and Houston playing from behind, meaning they got to throw the football a lot. Brandon Cooks is going to be the beneficiary of that, even though they haven't been that explosive in that. Once Philly's ahead by a lot, Houston's going to get some garbage points. And, the Argonauts do have the Philly defense, but other than that, they have nothing else on Thursday night. Then when we get to Sunday, the Argonauts are going to have to hit them hard early Sunday. If not, Only for the Boss could probably really run away with the matchup. I do like Tyler Algier, but there are rumblings that Cordero Patterson could be back for the Falcons this week. That'll obviously limit Algier's upside if that's the truth. I'm looking at Stephon Diggs against the New York Jets. Sauce Gardner is out there, but Stephon Diggs, like you said, he's playing with the league MVP. He's going to get fed, and it's going to probably lead to a big week. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs coach, waiting there late. I like the Allen Lazard pickup off of waivers, getting a pretty good wide receiver in the flex spot at a crucial moment when you could use them. I mean, because it's a throwaway pick, but it's a good one nonetheless. I like the Cincinnati defense against the Carolina team that is they're very run dependent. And on the Argonaut side, New England coach. They should win that matchup, but I'm saying they should win that matchup. That doesn't mean they're going to win that matchup. Like Kansas City expected to run away with that Tennessee game. Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook at Washington on the road. They're not as good on grass outside as they are indoors. That could be an issue for them. And at the end of the day, like you said, Devontae Adams, what's going on in Las Vegas? I've got only for the Boss getting this win, 141 to the Argonauts, 128. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into our interconference matchup of the week. We've got the Omega Conferences, Patty's Twins taking on Alphas. I need about Trey Fitty. All right, man. So obviously we got Twins, Trey Fitty, Aaron Rodgers going up against Travis Etienne. I would say that's the top player of repute on Trey Fitty at the moment. And obviously that boy Jalen Waddle. Obviously the big disappointment of Jonathan Taylor. But then we got Austin Eckler obviously having himself a standout season as the #1 running back in the league. The Twins have some firepower, but they just can't seem to get it together. What do you think of this matchup, Trey Fitty and Patty's Twins?
I do think that Patty's Twins gets it right this week. I mean, it may just be because I'm looking at Trey Fitty's lineup. They clearly haven't set. I mean, certain positions they're going to have to go out and get some guys.
Right.
Normally he sets his lineup. I mean, again, this was he's coming off probably one of the I would say the baddest beat he's had since joining the PPL.
Yeah.
And we're going to see how this owner responds to that. Again, when you put up 151, you expect to win.
Right.
And again, he's going to have to go get a quarterback. He's going to have to go get a coach. So we're going to see some movement here.
A D.
Brees Hall on IR. It's going to be a different look. Cam Akers isn't looking like he's going to be playing. We'll see. He's requesting trades.
Right.
I just think, like you said, I mean, Austin Eckler's back in the lineup. They've got a Seahawks coach that could win at Arizona. We'll have to see. But I just think as the lineup is set right now, and what I'm seeing out of the potential here, I think that the Twins got it. Trey Fitty will make it close because I think they are going to go get some guys to fill up here.
Yeah.
I think the Twins have a get right week here and win a close one, 112 to 107.
Okay. This one's interesting, man. I'm looking at it. And what Trey Fitty does have in his lineup, I like all those matchups. So if he can get competent play at other positions, I think he can actually get this.
Right.
But it's hard to project because quarterback, coach, and D are so crucial. But I'm looking at Patty's Twins. I don't really like the Seahawks D coach combination on the road at Arizona against a scrambling quarterback who can get in and out of the pocket. Who's very tough to sack, and who is, he's not known for throwing interceptions. Aaron Rodgers gets probably his easiest matchup so far of the season against the Detroit Lions. Does that mean something? Let's hope so. It should. But I don't know if it really does, just from what we've seen all season long. They haven't really been able to figure it out in Green Bay, despite the opponent. So I don't think that Detroit is the magical elixir that it's been in the past. I think that the Packers are probably going to look the same. They're going to probably run the football a lot, hope to keep it close, and then when they throw the ball, they're going to try to get it to Aaron Jones and probably Romeo Doubs. Austin Eckler is a great play against the Atlanta Falcons. That's going to be an awesome play, and I really like Dameon Pierce. The Twins have a rock solid running back core. I'm hearing that Jonathan Taylor, however, might not play this week due to a tweaking that ankle injury last week in that matchup. So the Twins may need to look somewhere in the flex. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Packers, they just haven't been all that impressive in either phase of the game. And I think that Amon-Ra can have a good game. And Michael Pittman Jr., I don't really like his matchup against New England, especially if there's no Jonathan Taylor. I think New England's going to be able to really hone in on their passing game and slow them down. Keenan Allen, we'll see what happens there. This one's really hard to predict just because I don't think either team is really done making decisions this week. But that being said, I like what Trey Fiddy has in the core of their lineup. I say they get a decent quarterback in, and I think that they get by the Twins. The Twins just are not having a good year. I got Trey Fiddy finding some adequate replacements and getting a win in this one, keeping themselves on track, especially in that Alpha Conference. 119 to the Twins, 112. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week, we go into Omega for a game that can quite possibly decide the Omega Conference title. We've got the United Players, the Destroyers at 6-2, taking on the surging Skulls at 5-3. All right, man, we got a big one here. Alan Brady, Derrick Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, Cooper Kupp, Darren Waller. What do you think of this matchup, man? We got the Skulls riding in with the league MVP Josh Allen, going against the United Players, going up against the gunslinger of all, the MVP of all, Tom Brady. What do you think of this one, man?
I mean, it's going to be an exciting matchup because these are two of the higher scoring teams in the PPL.
Right.
But, I mean, whenever I look at this, I mean, again, there's just too many question marks on the UP side. And I really like what the Skulls have put together as far as the lineup. And, I mean, again, I'm just looking at Tom Brady and company have not been in sync. I think that personal life stuff may be bleeding over into professional life. There's a lot of question marks on this team. Guys are getting a little bit banged up.
Yeah.
And again, I don't see the UP getting this week. I mean, again, I think that they've got a favorable coach matchup. I think that they should win that. I think Jags will have a decent day against Las Vegas if it's anything like last week. However, again, Skull's got the MVP. He's got their coach. Also, I'm saying it, Ramondre Stevenson. This is probably one of the better pickups. And again, this guy's top 10 running back. He's going to be in this franchise for a while.
Right.
I mean, again, we know how Belichick will coach this. Aaron Jones has definitely carved out his role in that Green Bay offense. He's probably the only guy worth consistently starting there.
Yeah.
That is going to get his touches. The big thing here is Jamar Chase is out. Huge. That's a huge loss here, and so that may be one area. But I like the Bills coach. I like the Bucks D. I'm not so sure against the Rams. We'll have to see. But that being said, I mean, again, I'm not sure that these guys on the UP aren't banged up enough just to hurt their line. Like, we're at that point in the season where guys will go out in the second quarter. You know what I mean? Like guys are starting to feel the effects of the game. So if that's the case, I think that the Skulls get this. And again, I think one difference is I'm looking at these two teams as the season's progressed. Again, Skulls are the second highest scoring team out there. Yeah. But again, they're playing a UP team that by and large has not been challenged, playing a lot of teams that just haven't played that well against them. Okay. And so again, I think that the UP actually have a really tough game here. Struggle to find some position fillers. And again, I've got the Skulls going in a really tight one, but 129 to 124. Okay.
I'm going the other way on this one, man. I like a lot of the matchups for the United Players, the Destroyers. I'm thinking that Rams Bucks game is going to be defensive, but I think that the people that are going to score in that matchup are going to be on the United Players, the Destroyers. I love Derrick Henry's matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night. They're going to try to run the ball to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. And if Henry's successful doing that, which is it's a pretty good possibility, Derrick Henry can roll to another huge 150-yard 2 TD game. I'm looking at DeAndre Swift against the Packers. They're really starting to split that backfield, but both of those guys get enough touches to do big things. And I think DeAndre has a decent time against the Packers. Like I said, I like Tom against the Rams. The Rams, they have not looked great this year. Jimmy G looked pretty good against them last week, so I expect Tom to get to bounce back. I don't think guys are going to be dropping bombs this week. Cooper Kupp, I think that he is able to do okay because he does have a slight ankle injury. But at the end of the day, I think that he'll be able to gut it out, and they need to get back to 500. They're going to try to gut this game out, and they're going to try to play hard. I like Juju Smith-Schuster to get back in the lineup in place of Michael Gallup there. And I like Juju's matchup. The Tennessee DBs are the weakness of that team. I expect that the Chiefs are definitely going to come out to pass, and Juju is really starting to get acquainted with Patrick Mahomes in that offense, and I expect that to help the United players. Now on the Skull side, I don't think that Josh Allen's going to have a bad game, but the matchup isn't great. I know that he's pretty matchup proof. But this is a road game against a divisional opponent that's familiar with Josh. And the Jets' defense has looked pretty solid most of the season. And I don't think that is going to be a situation where he's sitting at like 9 or 10 points. But it may not be a 30, 40-point game out the gate. Now, he can make me look stupid by Sunday afternoon. But, hey, I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that the Jets are able to slow Josh Allen down a little bit. I do expect Aaron Jones to have a good game, as well as Ramondre Stevenson. But the receivers do leave something to be desired. McLaren and Jacoby Myers are both number ones on teams who struggle at times to throw the football effectively. I like Darren Waller getting back into the lineup, and I did talk about how I thought Detroit would be able to have success against Green Bay. And I like both running backs, and he's got Williams in the flex. But at the end of the day, I think the United players find a way to get by the Skulls again like they did on opening day. We both actually picked the Skulls in that matchup. I'm not going to do that again. I think I'm going to go the other way. And I think that the United players, the Destroyers, put themselves out front in their quest for their first Omega Conference, or second maybe, Omega Conference title. I've got the United players, the Destroyers, winning this matchup 134 to the Skulls 128. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. We're back. Sorry we missed you guys last week, but hey, we're here, and it's time to roll into the latter part of the season on our road to Pantheon Cup 14. Gino the Gin and Ulysses S. Hate signing off. Good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor.